Fame brings admiration, but for some, it also invites tragedy. Throughout history, beloved celebrities have met untimely ends at the hands of those driven by obsession, jealousy, or rage. Their murders sent shockwaves through the world, leaving behind grieving families, devastated fans, and an irreplaceable void in their industries. These stars shone brightly, captivating millions with their talent, only to have their lives cruelly stolen. Some were taken by deranged admirers who blurred the line between love and obsession, others by acquaintances whose envy turned deadly. The violent ends they met, whether in the quiet of their homes or in the glare of the public eye, left those closest to them grappling with unbearable sorrow. The echoes of their final moments haunt those who love them. Tributes pour in, their work immortalized, but the pain lingers. The world remembers them not for how they died, but for the brilliance they shared, now forever lost. Today, we will look at celebrities who were murdered and the people who killed them. Pop Smoke, a rising star in the rap industry, was tragically murdered on February 19, 2020, at just 20 years old. Born Bashar Baraka Jackson, he revolutionized Brooklyn drill music with his deep voice and infectious energy. His career was soaring, but his life was cruelly cut short when Corey Walker and 3 minors invaded his rented Hollywood Hills home in a botched robbery. They targeted him after seeing his address on social media, breaking in during the early hours. When Pop Smoke fought back, they shot him repeatedly and left him for dead. His death sent shockwaves through the music world, devastating his family, friends, and fans. The grief was immeasurable. His mother mourned a son stolen too soon, while fellow artists lamented the loss of a generational talent. His legacy lives on through his music, but the pain of his absence remains. The world lost more than a rapper. It lost a visionary whose voice still echoes.
Young Dolph, a beloved rapper and philanthropist, was tragically murdered on November 17, 2021, in his hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. He was gunned down in broad daylight at Makeda's Homemade Butter Cookies, a local shop he often supported. His killers, Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith, ambushed him, firing multiple rounds before fleeing the scene. Their motives remain tangled in speculation. Whether jealousy, revenge, or a targeted hit, their actions robbed the world of a man who had uplifted his community. Dolph, born Adolph Thornton Jr., was more than an artist. He was a devoted father, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for many. His death sent shockwaves through the music industry and left an irreplaceable void in the hearts of his loved ones. His family, especially his children, now bear the unimaginable pain of his absence. Fans and fellow artists continue to mourn, cherishing his legacy of resilience, generosity, and inspiration.
I like to think I'm a revolutionary.
Tupac Shakur, a legendary rapper and cultural icon, was brutally murdered on September 7, 1996, in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. His life, marked by poetic brilliance and social activism, was cut short when Kef D, an admitted gang affiliate, orchestrated the attack, fueled by a violent rivalry between the Southside Crips and Tupac's Death Row Circle. Kef D facilitated the fatal shooting as retaliation for an earlier altercation. For gunshots struck Tupac as he sat in a BMW, fatally wounding him. He fought for 6 agonizing days before succumbing to his injuries on September 13th. His death devastated his loved ones. His mother, Afeni Shakur, mourned the son who carried her revolutionary spirit, while fans worldwide grieved the loss of a voice that spoke for the oppressed. His murder left an irreplaceable void in music and culture, a tragic reminder of how violence silences even the brightest flames too soon.
He knew something subconsciously that he was looking into the eyes of the person that was going to kill him.
John Lennon, the legendary musician and former Beatle, was murdered on December 8, 1980, outside his New York City home, the Dakota. As he returned with his wife, Yoko Ono, a deranged fan, Mark David Chapman, ambushed him, firing 5 bullets, 4 of which struck Lennon. Bleeding profusely, he collapsed at the entrance, whispering his final words before succumbing to his wounds. Chapman, obsessed with Lennon yet enraged by his perceived hypocrisy, claimed he sought notoriety through the murder. He stood by, reading The Catcher in the Rye, waiting for police to arrest him. Lennon's death sent shockwaves worldwide. Yoko Ono was left devastated, his young son, Sean, robbed of a father. Fans gathered, weeping outside the Dakota, struggling to grasp the loss of a voice that had defined a generation. The world mourned not just a musician, but a visionary whose message of peace was silenced in the cruelest irony. Sharon Tate was a rising Hollywood star whose life was tragically cut short in an act of unimaginable cruelty. On August 9, 1969, the 26-year-old actress, 8 months pregnant, was brutally murdered in her Los Angeles home by members of Charles Manson's cult. The killers, acting under Manson's twisted directive to incite a race war, stormed her house, slaughtering Tate and 4 others in a horrific frenzy. Sharon, pleading for the life of her unborn child, was met with merciless brutality, stabbed 16 times in an orgy of senseless violence. Her death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and devastated her husband, filmmaker Roman Polanski, who was away at the time. Friends and family were left shattered, their grief deepened by the sheer savagery of the crime. The world lost not only a promising actress, but a kind soul whose light was extinguished far too soon. Even decades later, her murder remains one of the darkest moments in Hollywood history. Christina Grimmie was a rising star whose voice captivated millions. A gifted singer and former The Voice contestant, she was known for her angelic vocals and genuine connection with fans. But on June 10, 2016, her life was tragically cut short in an unthinkable act of violence. After a performance in Orlando, Christina was meeting fans when Kevin James Loibl, a deranged admirer, approached her. Without warning, he pulled out a gun and shot her multiple times before taking his own life. Her brother tackled the gunman, but it was too late. Christina succumbed to her wounds at just 22. Her death sent shockwaves through the music world. Friends, family, and fans mourned the loss of a kind-hearted soul who had so much left to give. Her loved ones were left shattered, struggling to comprehend why such a bright light was stolen so soon. To this day, Christina's legacy lives on through her music and the hearts she touched.
Actress Rebecca Schaeffer was shot to death Tuesday in the doorway of her Los Angeles apartment.
Rebecca Schaeffer was a rising star whose life was tragically stolen by an obsessed fan. At just 21, she had already captivated audiences with her role in My Sister Sam, radiating charm and talent. But her promising future was shattered on July 18, 1989, when Robert John Bardo, a deranged admirer, tracked her down using a private investigator. Bardo, enraged after seeing Rebecca in a film scene he deemed inappropriate, arrived at her Los Angeles home. When she answered the door, he shot her in the chest at point-blank range. She collapsed, dying in agony, her dreams vanishing in an instant. Her murder devastated her family, friends, and fans, leaving behind a void of unfulfilled potential. Hollywood reeled in shock, and her death led to stricter stalking laws. The grief of those who loved her lingers, a reminder of a bright light extinguished too soon by senseless obsession. XXXTentacion, a rising star in the rap world, was brutally murdered on June 18, 2018, at just 20 years old. Born Yaseon Froy He was a complex yet deeply influential artist whose music resonated with millions, touching on pain, depression, and redemption. His life was cut short outside Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida, when four men, Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, Trayvon Newsom, and Robert Allen, ambushed him in a robbery-turned-execution. Shot multiple times, XXXTentacion's lifeless body slumped in his BMW as fans and loved ones reeled in disbelief. His mother, Cleopatra Bernard, and his then-unborn son, Gekium, were left to mourn a future stolen away. The senseless killing shattered the music world, leaving a void impossible to fill. His murderers sought money but instead created a legacy of grief. Though controversial, XXXTentacion was a voice for the lost, and his death left an unshakable sorrow in the hearts of those who loved him.
Nipsey Hussle, a revered rapper, entrepreneur, and activist, was tragically murdered on March 31, 2019. He was shot multiple times outside his Marathon clothing store in Los Angeles, a place he built to uplift his community. His killer, Eric Holder, an acquaintance from the neighborhood, confronted him over alleged disrespect before opening fire. Nipsey's death sent shockwaves through the music industry and beyond. He wasn't just an artist. He was a visionary, investing in his community, advocating for economic empowerment, and inspiring countless lives. His murder felt like the loss of a leader, a brother, and a father. His family, especially his longtime partner Lauren London and their children, were left shattered. Friends and fans mourned deeply, with tributes pouring in worldwide. His funeral drew thousands, proof of his immeasurable impact. Nipsey's legacy lives on through his music, philanthropy, and the powerful message he stood for. The marathon continues.
Cause nigga said she didn't realize you was rapping about her on Motorsport.
Cap.
Takeoff, a beloved rapper and member of the chart-topping group Migos, was tragically murdered on November 1st, 2022, at just 28 years old. His life was cut short in a senseless act of violence when Patrick Xavier Clark fatally shot him outside a Houston bowling alley. What should have been a night of celebration turned deadly over a petty dispute, a cruel reminder of how fragile life can be. Takeoff was known for his laid-back demeanor, lyrical genius, and undeniable impact on hip-hop. His untimely death sent shockwaves through the music industry, leaving his bandmates, Quavo and Offset, devastated. Fans mourned the loss of an artist who shaped a generation, while his family grappled with an unbearable void. The grief was profound. A young star gone too soon, his potential forever stolen. Though Takeoff is no longer here, his legacy lives on through the music he left behind, echoing the pain of his absence in every beat. Selena Quintanilla, the queen of Tejano music, was a rising star whose life was tragically cut short on March 31st, 1995. At just 23, she had captivated millions with her soulful voice, infectious energy, and groundbreaking success in the Latin music industry. But her promising future was stolen by Yolanda Saldivar, a trusted confidant turned obsessed admirer. Saldivar, the former president of Selena's fan club, had been embezzling money and, when confronted, lured Selena to a motel under false pretenses. In a desperate act of control, she shot Selena in the back, severing a major artery. Bleeding profusely, Selena ran for help but collapsed, her final words identifying her killer. Her death sent shockwaves across the world. Her family, devastated, mourned the loss of a daughter and sister, while fans grieved a legend gone too soon. Even decades later, Selena's absence is felt, her legacy immortalized in music, love, and the dream she inspired. Jam Master Jay, the legendary DJ of Run DMC, was a pioneer of hip-hop, shaping its sound and culture. But on October 30th, 2002, his life was brutally cut short. In his Queens studio, Jay was shot in the head at point-blank range, a senseless execution that shattered the music world. His killers, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington, sought revenge over a drug dispute, betraying a man who had once been a friend. His murder left an unfillable void. His family, bandmates, and fans were paralyzed with grief. Run DMC, the group that revolutionized hip-hop, would never be the same. Jay had been more than a musician. He was a mentor, a father, and a community pillar. His loss was a cruel reminder of the violence that too often claims brilliant lives too soon. Decades later, the pain lingers, his memory kept alive by the beats that defined a generation and the love of those he left behind. Big L, the gifted Harlem rapper whose lyrical prowess stunned the hip-hop world, met a tragic end on February 15, 1999. He was shot 9 times in the face and chest on 139th Street, near his home, an execution-style killing that shook the music industry. The man behind the trigger, Gerard Woodley, was once a close friend. Authorities suspected the murder was retaliation for street disputes linked to Big L's older brother, but the exact motive remains murky. Big L's death robbed hip-hop of a legend on the verge of stardom. His intricate wordplay and raw storytelling made him one of the most promising MCs of his time. Friends, family, and fans were left devastated, mourning a talent lost too soon. The grief was profound. His mother, siblings, and rap peers struggled to comprehend the senseless loss. His murder remains one of hip-hop's greatest tragedies, a painful reminder of the violence that claims brilliant lives too soon.